Welcome to How You Livin', a transformative podcast featuring best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and minister, Dr. Rick Rigsby. And now, Dr. Rick.
Hello, friends. Thanks so much for listening. Let's continue a conversation titled The Essence of Greatness. Here's the thesis that supports this series of podcasts. Not everyone will be successful. Everyone can be successful. We all have the capacity, but not everyone is willing to pay the price for success. Let's recap the first two podcast episodes in this series. Part one of The Essence of Greatness is subtitled The Pain of Success. We learned that pain is critical to growth. Samuel Chan wrote a book titled Leadership Pain, The Classroom for Growth. I highly recommend this book. Chan argued that growth equals change. Change equals loss. Loss equals pain. So inevitably, growth equals pain. Here's the bottom line. No pain, no growth. If we're not committed to change, we should not expect to grow. A price must be paid to accomplish greatness. The price? A mindset relentlessly committed to attacking things that are hard, even if it means developing new habits and disrupting unproductive routines. The essence of greatness requires a singularity of purpose, which produces a tenacious determination. The result? A focus that is incapable of distraction. Without purpose, there is no singular priority in life. Without a singularity of priority in life which guides us, there is no daily focus. And without daily focus, we practice only that which is familiar and comfortable, rituals and patterns that prevent us from accomplishing true greatness. In addition, we breed familiarity, meaning we become susceptible to distractions and willingly receive interruptions. All this stems from a lack of focus. That's why Samuel Chan reminds us that when we interpret our pain to be bigger and more important and more threatening and more comprehensive than our vision, we'll redefine our vision down to our threshold of pain. In other words, you have to accept pain if you want to grow. You have to be willing to accept pain if you want to grow. That's why it's important to know your purpose. What is your singular priority in life? And once you establish that, there is no weapon on this earth that can stop you from achieving true greatness. Part one of this series, The Pain of Success, establishes the foundation for growing greatness. Part two is titled The Blueprint for Success. Here it is in one central theme: do hard better. I want to say that again. Do hard better. We're not rewarded for doing hard better, especially in this day and age. We're rewarded for looking good and presenting well, and above all, finishing first. This represents a profound shift when compared to previous generations. Just a few decades ago, do hard better wasn't a corporate motto. Do hard better weren't words included on a mission statement. It was the expectation that was demanded in the community. It was demanded by our parents. It was demanded by leaders. And it was reinforced seemingly by every family, at least in the neighborhood where I lived. As children growing up in the 60s, do hard better was normative behavior. It was the expected expectation. Doing hard better is a tough sell today in a society where citizens search desperately for shortcuts and quick fixes, producing a mentality that results in sloppy work, a lack of pride in doing a good job, and unmerited credit for finishing quickly or finishing first. Tim Denning wrote a post published by Success Magazine. He titled his post, "If your life sucks, it's proof you need to do more hard things." I like that title. I even liked what he said. Listen to this. He said, quote, When we do hard things, it's uncomfortable. No wonder we run from hard things, as if they're a brown bear wanting to eat us for lunch. Adversity is opportunity. Adversity generates wisdom. Adversity shows us the potential of what we can become. You see, friends, this notion of easy perpetuates the myth that keeps us very comfortable. And that comfort is the very thing that prevents growth. This is the perfect transition into our third episode in this series, Essence of Greatness. I've titled Part 3, Becoming Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. The motivation for this series has not been my study of leadership the last 4 decades or the 35 years of travel conducting executive leadership seminars all over the world, as well as countless keynotes on the topic of leadership. The motivation for this series? A personal health journey over the last couple of years. I decided to change my life by making changes to live a more healthy lifestyle. And over the last few years, I've gone from 310 pounds to 180 pounds. For the first time in 60 plus years, I'm experiencing good health, good physical health. I don't want to discuss the outcome. Rather, I'd like to talk about the process, for it was the process that more than anything else taught me the true essence of greatness. I've learned such lessons as you must yield control in order to gain control. You must be willing to have a teachable spirit. Most important, you must answer the why question. If you can't answer the why should I change question, you will never be willing to endure the pain of success or willing to tolerate being uncomfortable as you grow. For years, I thought losing weight was easy. Actually, it is. What's hard is the daily commitment to the process and learning to become comfortable being uncomfortable. You see, being comfortable with your life means you're just not willing to face changing your life. But how about this? Becoming uncomfortable means that I have become comfortable with relinquishing control, resisting the old way of doing things. I've become comfortable with killing my pride and developing a teachable spirit, with understanding the role emotions play, how I've spent an entire lifetime eating with my eyes. I'm now learning the difference between hunger and need. Oh, it's been uncomfortable, but I've learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You see, losing weight is easy, but transforming your life, uncomfortable. The question is this: if you're not satisfied with your current state, are you willing to pay the price to change your current state? In other words, are you willing to be uncomfortable? Just like storms grow vegetation, growth requires being uncomfortable. Here's the key to living an uncomfortable lifestyle that will lead to growth. Ask yourself a question right now. Ask yourself the why question. Why should I change? You see, the answer will determine your level of motivation. The answer gives you the reason for which to change. British philosopher Francis Bacon once stated, "The duty and office of rhetoric is to apply reason to imagination for the better moving of the will." In other words, our reasoning moves our will, and that reasoning is informed when we answer the question, why? For me, answering the why question became all the motivation I needed. A few years ago, I was having a conversation with my wife when I casually mentioned, I'm in my 60s, I weigh over 300 pounds, and when I look around, I don't see many guys in their 60s who weigh over 300 pounds. I began to think about the months after my first wife passed away back in 1996. I know what it's like to be a widower. I don't want to leave my wife a widow. I know what it's like to see the faces of children who had to say goodbye to a parent. I just don't want to relive that again. And I also know what it's like these days to enjoy grandchildren. And I don't want to leave my grandchildren prematurely. The why as Francis Bacon would say, applied reason to my imagination that ultimately moved my will. I had to give myself a reason so meaningful, so significant that it would change my life. Have I given you a reason yet to be uncomfortable? Have I given you a reason yet to be uncomfortable as a path to experiencing a better life, a more productive life, a more satisfying life? If still not convinced, here's your homework assignment. Spend the next week asking yourself one critical question. Why? Why should I change my life? Answering this one question gave me the reasoning to imagine a new reality, introduced me to a level of commitment I have never experienced before, compels me every day to do hard better, as I am privileged to welcome being uncomfortable, realizing that actually it's a very small price to pay to achieve greatness. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Until we meet again, this is Dr. Rick, asking the most important question I can ask. How you living?
Are you ready to make an impact in your world right now? Do you want to stop existing and start living your best life right now? Dr. Rick wants to give you the first chapter of his best-selling book, Lessons from a Third Grade Dropout, absolutely free. Just go to www.rickrigsby.com/free gift to get the print or audiobook right now.
This is the podcastfactory.com.